People were literally lining up at least an hour before the sale. They were sitting in their cars, and then they came up and we were giving them numbers. So people were coming in and out. So I found this big rock that kept the screen door open. And one of the people that came asked if the rock was for sale. I said, of course, everything's for sale. So they literally bought the rock for $5.
Welcome to How To. I'm Courtney Martin. I want to come clean about something today. I am a bit of a secondhand junkie. It's true. I never pass by a box of free stuff on the sidewalk without taking at least a quick glance, sometimes much longer. Goodwill is my happy place, especially in a town with a lot of old people with amazing stuff they don't realize has come back into style. And so, of course, I'm also a big fan of a yard sale. Or depending on where you live, a garage sale or a stoop sale. They are full of surprises. All these objects representing so many quirky human stories, obsessions, abandoned goals, inheritances, disinheritances. They're just so full of intrigue. They're also a lot harder to pull off than they look, as one of our producers learned the hard way.
My name is Joel Meyer. I'm an editor and producer at How To. And also, I recently completed a garage sale, and I have questions about whether I failed miserably or not.
I love it. So, Joel, let's dig into your question. Tell us a little bit more about this yard sale and why you suspect it might have been a failure.
Well, this all started with not my garage sale, but my friend's garage sale a couple of months ago. She was moving to a new apartment and downsizing from a big one-bedroom apartment down to a much nicer but smaller studio apartment. She had a yard sale that also included stuff from some other friends, so it was kind of a combined, family yard sale. And all in all, I think that yard sale was not much of a success. My brother once told me something apocryphal, which is like with a garage sale, you put all of that time and energy into it, you make $80, and then you spend $100 on pizza at the end of the day. But I remember going home and telling my wife, I don't think I'll ever do a yard sale ever again. But then lo and behold, within about a week, we got a little message taped to our door from a neighbor who said, we're organizing a block-wide yard sale. And we looked around our house and in our garage and in our storage room, and we thought we probably need to participate. Also, I would say, very seriously, we wanted to participate in this because it was a chance to meet some more neighbors.
Oh, this is important. Because as we're evaluating, was this yard sale a failure, there are many metrics by which we might measure that. One of them is money, but one of them might be new friends. And I'm not sure you didn't fail at that part. So let's keep talking. So then you get over your Joel Meyer boycott, and what happens this time?
Testing 1 2 1 2. Hello. Okay, the day has arrived. We're doing our yard sale. I've been up since 7:30 on a Saturday, which is unusual. Surprisingly, very few early birds, I have to say. Just one guy on a bike with no wallet, so he couldn't buy anything. We have enough stuff for a garage sale. That was one thing I wasn't sure. It was like, how much stuff do you need to have to hold a garage sale? And we probably met that bar, but not much more than that. Our main priority was to get rid of a very big, very complicated to assemble and disassemble bunk bed frame that we no longer need. And so I disassembled it to get it out of the house, reassembled it for the garage sale. So that was a high priority sales item. Then we just had the usual kind of debris that people have around their house. We have one son who's 10 years old, and he was excited about maybe making a little bit of cash. He wanted to sell some books, and we convinced him to sell a couple of gigantic toys that we just need out of this house, and he was willing to do that. So we set those out.
Can you please tell me what these gigantic toys are?
You could get yourself a Batcave, a Joker tank, and a Batman and Joker action figure, all for $15.
Wow.
So we're going to try bundling a little bit and see if we get rid of more for a higher price point. That was one of our strategies.
I just have to note, the bar may be profoundly low in my house, but everything you're saying is making me think you guys are really on top of your shit. Like, you are really preparing. I mean, Ava, is this normal?
Actually, the prep is more important than the actual sale day. By tagging things, organizing things, researching how much to charge, and the merchandising and the displaying of things is vitally important. So just throwing things on a lawn is not good.
This is our expert for today, Ava Seavey. She's a marketing executive and author of the book Ava's Guide to Garage Sale Gold.
I am a self-taught master of garage-sale-ology, which is basically an obsessive passion for selling things. And my passion started very early on, where I was going to flea markets and just sort of tooling around and experimenting around with different ways of presenting things and seeing how people reacted.
So Joel gets like an A+ for preparation, it sounds like, maybe a B- for a little late stage tagging. You weren't all the way there. But then, Joel, what happened next?
So I'm sitting out here with my wife, Linda. We're in lawn chairs on the lawn in the, hour 2 of our yard sale?
Yeah, it's been almost 2 hours since we set up.
Okay. And what's progress been like?
Well, it's kind of slowed down now. I feel like, oh, here's a car. I like this part that there's just a lot of drive-bys. And then I actually feel a little bit more rejected than I think I thought I might.
Right.
When people don't even stop.
You're like, sort of like, oh, my garbage isn't good enough for you?
Yeah, because like if they don't want to buy it, fine. But I'm like, at least get out of your car.
Because of the running joke that my brother has about garage sales, my goal was really $80. And ultimately, at the end of the day, I think we made about $80 or $90 maybe.
I would really rate that as a fail. I've never done a garage sale where I made less than $500.
Wow.
And I've made
Joel.
over $2,000 in a sale. So, I mean...
Oh my gosh. Burn. Joel, are you feeling bad? So this week, dig out your old tools, that dusty ship in a bottle, the collection of vintage brooches, and that priceless New Kids on the Block poster. When we come back, Ava will tell us how to sell it all and what Joel can do to reverse his failing grade. Stick around. This episode is brought to you by Defender. For those who embrace the impossible, the Defender 110 is up for the adventure. This iconic vehicle has been redefined with thoroughly modern design. The exterior is reimagined with compelling proportions and precise detailing, and the interior is built with robust materials and integrity. The Defender capability is legendary, whether you're facing off-road challenges or harsh weather conditions. Built for the modern explorer, the Defender 110 lets you go further and do more. And cargo capacity means more room for your gear. To drive the Defender is to explore with greater confidence. Powerful innovations like the intuitive driver display and award-winning infotainment system keep you connected. Innovative camera technologies deliver unobstructed views and effortless maneuvering. Ready for a wide range of adventures, the Defender family features the two-door Defender 90, the Defender 110, and the Defender 130, which seats up to 8. A vehicle made to go further, the Defender 110. Learn more at landroverusa.com/Defender. First, the bad news. SAP Business AI won't help you generate cubist versions of your family's holiday photos, but it will help you understand which supplier is best to help you roll out your plant-based packaging in Southeast Asia, identify the training your junior project manager needs to rise up the ranks, and automate repetitive tasks while you focus on big innovations, so you can be ready for the next opportunity. Revolutionary technology, real-world results. That's SAP Business AI. We're back with my colleague here at How To, Joel Meyer, and our garage sale expert, Ava Seavey. Now, Ava says the first step to having a successful garage sale is not calling it a garage sale.
So I have a whole chapter in my book about how to name your sale. Even though my book is called Ava's Guide to Garage Sale Gold, that's because people refer to sales as garage sales. I never, ever have done a sale that I called a garage sale. So the terms that you use will help identify and draw the crowd that you want. So yes, you can call it a garage sale, and that signifies junk to me. Garage sale means I'm cleaning out my garage. I have a bunch of junk, come and get it. The next step up would be tag sale. So a tag sale indicates to people that, okay, maybe the merch is a little better. Maybe they've taken some time. Maybe there's some good stuff in there. Yard sale is the next step up. And that to me indicates, okay, so they'll have maybe indoor, outdoor stuff. It's going to be a little more high end. Maybe there'll be more good stuff. Maybe there'll be some decorative, some household. The next step up is moving sale. Moving sale really draws them like flies because that indicates, they're going to be getting rid of expensive stuff, good stuff, maybe some vintage stuff. And the best that draws the most, and this is the one I've used the most, is estate sale. Now, estate sale doesn't have to mean that someone died. It can mean that you're basically getting rid of a lot of the contents of a house. It could mean that there's multiple generational things in there. It could indicate that there's old things, vintage things, antique things.
Oh,
but
I had no idea.
If you advertise for an estate sale, you better not have junk.
Yeah.
You will piss people off if you advertise for an estate sale and they show up and you have kids' toys.
Yeah. So it's like if someone actually died or if a fancy version of you is dying, you can call it an estate sale.
When my in-laws moved to assisted living, they did not die, but I called, doing a sale at their house an estate sale.
Once you figure out what kind of sale you want to have, how much prep do you really have to do? Listen, at my house, it's always sort of an impulse moment. We round up the toys and junk we don't want and splay them out haphazardly on the lawn for the neighbors. This is bad, says Ava. Very, very bad. If you want your yard sale to be a success, you need to rethink the preparations, the presentation, and the pricing.
The biggest mistake I do see people making is not tagging everything. And there's many, many reasons for why you need to tag everything. And also just throwing things on a lawn or throwing things in boxes on the ground, which is really bad because a lot of people that come to sales are older people that aren't going to bend down and rifle through things. And a big portion of people usually are either retired or older. It's a category of person that comes that just enjoys an entertaining thing to do. Maybe they're looking for nostalgic types of things. That's one of the biggest mistakes I see people making. Also, if something's not tagged, everyone thinks, having a garage sale, it's all about people negotiating and handling, and it's really not that because more and more people that come, one, they might be too shy if something's not tagged to say, how much is this? They might have a language barrier. They might just not want to ask. So if something's tagged and they pick it up and they see $15, great, here's your $15. I don't know if you tagged everything, Joel, at your sale.
We did tag everything, but we're still tagging when the sale started. Our sale started at about 10 o'clock. That was kind of the time that the block organizer had coordinated. Okay. And so by the time we opened up, some stuff was tagged, but we were still in the process of tagging. And I observed exactly what you're talking about, which is if it's not marked, people just kind of walk away from it because they don't want to even get into it.
No, and some people aren't super sociable. So it's just asking too much of them to ponder a guess at what you might want for something. Some people are very outgoing and they don't have an issue with that. But, you really have to have a sale for everyone. And it needs to be inclusive. So you're excluding a big percentage of people by not having pricing on your items. And I know it's a pain in the neck. You have a whole bunch of books. You can just put one sign out saying, any book on this table, $1 or whatever.
We definitely had group things where there was a lot of dog stuff. We had 3 different dog kennels, basically. We had a lot of books. We had a lot of DVDs.
I mean, the biggest draw at most sales that I've had are tools and jewelry. And anything that's sort of what I would call odd and old. So weird old things that maybe sometimes you don't even know what they are, always are big draws. Anything odd and unusual is usually a big draw.
Let me tell you about a guy that stopped at the sale with his family. And then he just came over to me and somewhat awkwardly asked me, you have any old axes or rusty tools? And I did laugh just a little bit. And I was like, no, I don't. But I was like, what do you do with them? Do you restore them? And he's like, yeah, I kind of restore them. I'm sort of a leather worker. And then he kind of just trailed off and walked away. So 2 things. One, I think that proves your point about a lot of people looking for tools at a garage sale, of which we had, I think, none. And then second of all, this is just a symptom of living in Utah, where someone coming up to you and asking you if you have any rusty axes is something that shouldn't surprise me that much.
I love this category of things, weird old things. Ava, can you tell us the best weird old thing you have ever either sold or bought at a yard sale?
Yeah, I did I guess you would call it an estate sale of my in-laws. And they had so many old, disgusting, smelly things. There was an old rock and roll poster from the 1960s. This is a little funny and embarrassing, but the picture was stained with cat pee and it was ripped.
Wow.
It was totally, you could see the stains. There was urine stains on it.
This is degraded merchandise, Ava.
Yes.
Do you know who the band was or who the artist was?
I'm thinking it was either Jim Morrison.
Someone that cats do not like, clearly.
Yeah. So someone bought it for $2. I was just stunned.
One thing to highlight here is that people really do love weird and unique items. Listen, just because you might be creeped out by your grandmother's old doll collection, someone else might pay top dollar for it. You know what they say, one man's trash is another man's treasure.
To me, having a garage sale or a moving sale or whatever you call it is the ultimate form of recycling, because you have something that is not going into a landfill. You have something that is basically being recycled that someone else is really going to get joy from. And the other thing that Joel mentioned is you get to meet I've met a lot of cool people at sales that I've stayed in touch with and become friends with, because it's a really pure way to meet people where you really don't have an agenda. To me, it's a very green form of meeting people, because you are recycling, you are bringing joy, and you're putting some coin in your pocket.
I love it. So many elements.
So here is my next big question. I think the biggest thing that we did wrong is the thing that submarines so many projects out there is lack of marketing. We left it up to the person on our block who coordinated this whole thing, and they put a sign on a very, very busy corner near our house that read, and I have a picture of it, garage sale. And then it listed, the date and time, the block, and it said many houses participating. And then they also listed the phrase 20 miles an hour, because traffic speed in our neighborhood is a huge neighborhood issue. So as far as I can tell, I don't know how much was done online.
Right. So the person who conducted the sale obviously did not know how to market it. When I do a sale, I advocate for having at least 5 signs. And the signs basically say sale with an arrow. She tried to put too much stuff on this. You can't put all that stuff on a sign. You need a sign, sale, arrow, and you put it in highly trafficked places. I usually advocate for having a sign that goes into the lawn that's double-sided so that you can see it on both sides. A lot of people make a mistake and they write something just on one side or they tape it to a tree.
Okay, this is important. Marketing is key. Clear, consistent signs directing people to your sale are essential. But Ava also stresses that promoting it online can bring in even more potential customers.
Advertising online is imperative. So even if you were just the only person, if you had advertised on yardsalesearch.com, garage-sale-tracker.com, there's estatesales.net, there's Facebook Marketplace. Some people even still advertise on Craigslist. So the last sale that I did, 90% of my traffic came from the online advertising. Now, on Garage Sale Tracker and Yard Sale Search, they have a huge following of people that look there regularly. Like if you feel like going to a garage sale, you search by zip code and then you can see all the sales listed and what they have. That's the other thing is when you put the ads out, you need to highlight the special items in the ads. So don't just say miscellaneous junk. You know, like if you have very standout things, people will show up for that. Like I had maybe 3 World War II things at one of the sales. And I only had 3 out and we had others like hidden that we weren't sure that we wanted to sell or not. So again, collectors, there's a lot of people that collect war stuff, World War II, World War I. So like 2 guys showed up for the World War II stuff and I thought there was going to be a fight because they both wanted what I had. And it was like a bidding war kind of. So, you know, it can be uncomfortable if 2 people want the same thing. But again, we highlighted, we said World War II, vintage this, jewelry. Sometimes I'll say vintage jewelry, and that'll draw a whole other crowd of people. And it could be you might have 1 or 2 things from the 40s or 50s that's considered vintage.
It's clear that Ava is truly a guru of garage-sale-ology. But how did she get her start? Turns out it's another pretty wild story. We will hear that after a quick break, and we'll also give Joel a chance to earn some extra credit by negotiating prices with Ava herself in real time. Don't go anywhere. Have you ever heard of the term nuclear family? It was actually coined by an anthropologist in the 1920s to describe the family structure of a straight, married couple and their kids. Well, now, over a century later, only about 18% of Americans actually live in a family by that definition. That means that over 82% of Americans represent different kinds of families. From This Is Actually Happening comes The 82%, Modern Stories of Love and Family, a special 6-part series focused on those who have broken away from the norm and challenged society's notions of what a family can be. From an asexual educator and activist raising a child with 2 other co-parents, to a gay man in the clergy who chose the path of celibacy and created a unique family unit with his straight best friend. Each episode offers an intimate first-person perspective from those whose family lives have taken different shapes. To listen to the 82% series, follow This Is Actually Happening on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can listen to This Is Actually Happening ad-free on Wondery Plus. This episode is brought to you by Z-Biotics. There's now a game-changing product to use before a night out with drinks. It's called Z-Biotics. Let's face it, after a night with drinks, it's tough to bounce back the next day. You have to make a choice. You can either have a great night or a great next day. Z-Biotics is a surefire way to wake up feeling fresh after a night of drinking. Z-Biotics pre-alcohol probiotic drink is the world's first genetically engineered probiotic. It was invented by PhD scientists to tackle rough mornings after drinking. Here's how it works. When you drink, alcohol gets converted into a toxic byproduct in the gut. It's this byproduct, not dehydration, that's to blame for your rough next day. Z-Biotics produces an enzyme to break this byproduct down. Just remember to make Z-Biotics your first drink of the night, then drink responsibly, and you'll feel your best tomorrow. Go to zbiotics.com/howto to get 15% off your first order when you use HowTo at checkout. Z-Biotics is backed with a 100% money-back guarantee, so if you're unsatisfied for any reason, they'll refund your money, no questions asked. Remember to head to zbiotics.com/howto and use the code HOWTO at checkout for 15% off. Get 3% daily cash back when you use Apple Card to buy a new iPhone 15 or a pair of AirPods at Apple. You can choose to grow it at 4.4% annual percentage yield when you open a savings account through Apple Card. Apply for Apple Card in the Wallet app on iPhone. Subject to credit approval, savings is available to Apple Card owners subject to eligibility. Savings in Apple Card by Goldman Sachs Bank USA, Salt Lake City branch. Member FDIC. Terms and more at applecard.com. We're back with Joel and Ava Seavey, garage sale extraordinaire, who first got her start as an advertiser with a soft spot for flea markets.
I was kind of already in the advertising space, so I was very fascinated by putting things out on the table. Sometimes I would even raise the price to see how that influenced a purchasing decision. So it really started with flea markets. And I would buy a table for like $25 or whatever and be one of a vendor. You know, there would be hundreds of vendors. You know, I would get there at like 4:30 in the morning, set up, and the prowlers would start with their flashlights, like coming around to the tables. You know, I guess it was mostly collectors. They would come around to the tables before you had unpacked. And I just remember thinking, wow, that's crazy. You know, I thought it was bad enough getting up that early. And I recognized that I had a flair for selling, that I was a good conversationalist. This is before people had smartphones. Maybe people had cell phones, but they couldn't really go on the internet. So you were really kind of left to your own devices to really figure it out. At one estate sale that I was doing, maybe 15 years ago, I had laid it out so beautifully and so perfectly that all these people were coming up to me and saying, "Can you come and do my sale?" And I said, "No, I have a full-time job. I can't come and do your sale." And so many people asked me because they were like impressed with how everything was laid out that I thought to myself, maybe I'll write a book about how to do a garage sale and I can teach these other people how to do this. Well, I was on a shoot because I shoot commercials in my real job. And I was shooting a commercial for a financial services thing. It had nothing to do with any of this. And I heard my clients talking. And one of them was saying they want something unusual to invest in. And I don't know why or what prompted me to blurt out, "Oh, what about a garage sale book?" Now, these were all men. They were all financial people. And they were like, "Wow, that's a great idea. What other products can you create?" And I was like, "I don't know." So the next thing I knew, the guy calls me up. He tells me they're investing $100,000 in my garage sale book and all the other products that I'm going to create. And I was like, "Are you insane? You're kidding me."
Wow.
I don't think I ever would have written the book on my own if someone hadn't invested in it.
Wow, Ava, you are just like a legend. This is not the story I was expecting at all. The typical kind of half-life of the yard sale in our house, I have a 10-year-old and 7-year-old, Ava, is it's Friday night. I lose my cool about how messy their rooms are and like throw a big tantrum. They decide the next day they're going to have a yard sale so they can get rid of some stuff so mom will be less enraged. There's no preparation. There's no tagging. There's like maybe a sign that's misspelled and taped badly on a electric pole. And then all the kids in the neighborhood just like trade stuffed animals. And that's the cycle. So we're failing so much more miserably than Joel is. Joel, I'm basically telling the story so you'll feel better about yourself.
Yeah, I would definitely give you an F. And
yeah,
maybe Joel gets a D+ or a C- because he at least made the effort to tag most of his stuff.
In my defense, here are the things I made a little tiny list of things that I thought were wins for the day. First and foremost, we got rid of the bunk bed frame. And,
Yay!
So many things that were out on that lawn were just like imbued with meaning. I remember when we got them or who bought it for me or something like that. That bunk bed was something that we bought for my son when we moved to Salt Lake City. We had moved across the country. We're starting out in a new city. And we were like, we're going to have a bunk bed. Friends are going to stay over. My son was kind of getting to be the sleepover age. We're like, this is going to be really great. And then the pandemic hit and no one slept over at our house for like the next 2 years or more. So we never really got the use out of that bunk bed that we wanted to. But then this family came and bought it, and they had 2 little kids, and they saw a deal where they were like, because we did not sell it for a lot of money. I think we sold it for $35. I just wanted it out of my house. And I helped the guy load it into his truck. We talked a little bit about how it was going to get secured and straps in the truck and that sort of thing. And it was really nice to just see it go off down the street. And those kids clearly are going to use it, and hopefully their friends will use it, and they will get to do the sleepovers that we didn't get to do in the early 2020s. So that was a big win. We also spent a lot of time with neighbors. We did meet some people from down the street. We also got to hang out with some next door neighbors that we sort of have that 30-second, 40-second conversation with when you're dragging out your garbage bins or whatever. We got to hang out with a neighbor on our lawn for the better part of an hour and get to know him. And that was really great. And then it was just it was a beautiful day. And my wife and I at some point looked at each other and said, we're not getting rich, but there are much worse things we could be doing today than sitting in camp chairs under a tent and talking with our neighbors and just enjoying the day. So that part of it was really
well,
great.
Joel, I think I'm going to revise my score for you and bring you up to a B-. And I'll tell you why. The pay it forward element of a garage sale is so key. So you're now at a B-, Joel.
Ava, I'm glad you're the kind of teacher who will accept homework that you get to correct and redo for a higher grade. I appreciate that.
Right. It's funny because if you imbue in people the sense that, okay, having a garage sale, yard sale, moving sale, whatever you want to call it, has all these other, that's one of the reasons I wrote the book, because I wrote proven strategies to make money and have fun. It can be fun.
Ava, you mentioned that tagging is so important in advance, but do you believe in negotiating? And if so, could you do a role play with Joel to make sure that he is as good at negotiating as we need him to be to improve his score on yard sales?
Yes. There will always be a percentage of people that are going to, not everyone negotiates, but some people do. So you have to be open to that. And I'd be happy to role play with Joel on a negotiation.
So, Joel, I think you should try to buy Ava's cat piss stained rock and roll poster and see.
So I'm the buyer, not
You're
the
the
seller.
buyer, yes.
Okay. Well, hello. I'm interested in this antique poster that I don't think has any value. I see you have it priced at $20. I think I'm willing to pay $10 because it does appear to be stained with a mysterious stain that I haven't yet verified, and it's also ripped. So would you take $10 for this $20 item?
Thank you for your offer, but this is something that's out of print. It's not, you can't buy this anywhere. Go look on Amazon or look on any online place and you will not see this. So what about 15?
I only have $10. So would you just take $10? Because I'll buy it right now, but it's all that I have on.
What about coin? That might be what you have in bills. Do you have any coins? Maybe you have $1 or $2 in coins. I'll take 12.
I don't have coins, so I guess I'm just going to go, and maybe I'll be back in 3 hours, and maybe you'll take 10 for it then.
Yes, come back in a couple of hours at the end of the day, and I'll consider 10 at that time. But I don't want to go from 20 to 10. I'll take 12.
Wow.
And that's as low as I'll go.
This is great. Joel, how did that negotiation feel to you?
It felt pretty good. I just also, as a disclaimer, want to say I am terrified of negotiation. And so when negotiation came up during my sale, there was one win that I think I had and then one fail that I think I had. I think the fail was someone bought a standing desk and it was priced at $50. They offered me $35 and I was like, okay. I just took it because I just wanted it out of there. And I was like, well, I probably left at least $5 or $10 on the table. I could have negotiated more. But then we were selling a bike. We were selling a bike that's probably made in the late 90s or early 2000s. It's like a Cannondale that has been kind of in storage for the better part of 25 years. So it's a little bit of a curiosity for people to see it because it's in very good shape, but it's a super old bike. Guy pulled up in a minivan, got out and looked at it a little bit and offered me half of the asking price. And I was like, I'm totally not doing that. And he said what I said in our role playing, he's like, that's all that I got on me. And then there was another person at the yard sale, not, that was in a separate party who said, hey, aren't you the guy that sells bikes on the street corner in that one neighborhood? And outed this guy as a dealer. So it was like a dealer who had showed up who was definitely kind of lowballing me. And then because a neighbor kind of was like, very like wink, wink, like sort of like, you're a dealer, aren't you? Then I sort of felt like, well, this guy probably did have the money, but was just lowballing me and he left. And ultimately I didn't sell the bike and that's kind of totally fine. Yeah. But that was a very interesting experience.
For unique items like that, you might just try to sell it online.
Right.
You might just put it on Facebook Marketplace or something like that. And so I wouldn't consider that a fail because honestly, you have to have a mentality of, I'm not giving things away. This isn't charity. Even though I feel in a sense it's very charitable to have sales and have great deals going to people that might not be able to afford buying them in a store. But by the same token, stand firm, stand your ground, and don't just give things away.
Ava, if you could give one piece of advice for a how-to listener who's like gearing up for a yard sale this very weekend, what is the one thing you need them to remember? Marketing,
merchandising, and laughing.
I love that. That is 3 things, but I'm going to give it to you. Marketing, merchandising, and laughing. I think we've done a lot of all of those today.
Great. Well, anyone who's interested in learning more can come to garage-sale-ology.com. If they want to buy my book, I will autograph it for them at no extra charge.
You don't even have to negotiate. She'll just offer it.
Absolutely.
The signature is free. All right, Ava, thank you so much. Joel, thank you so much. This was really fun.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Courtney.
Happy sailing, everyone.
Thanks to Joel and to Ava for sharing some fun but serious garage sale advice, including, of course, don't call it a garage sale. If you rely on How To make the grade, the best way to support the show is by joining Slate Plus, Slate's membership program. Members will never hear another ad on our podcast or any other Slate podcast for that matter. You'll also get free and total access to Slate's website. So I hope you'll join if you can. To sign up now, go to slate.com/howtoplus. Again, that's slate.com/howtoplus. Do you have some stuff, literal or figurative, that needs sorting? Send us a note at howto@slate.com or leave us a voicemail at 646-495-4001. We might have you on the show. And if you like what you heard today, then do us a favor and go tell just one person to check it out. That helps us help more people. How To is produced by Rosemary Belson with Kevin Bendis. Joel Meyer may be terrible at garage sales, but he's actually a really good editor. And Derek John is executive producer. Merritt Jacob is Senior Technical Director and composed our theme music. Charles Duhigg created the show. Carvel Wallace is my co-host. I'm Courtney Martin. Thanks for listening.